Greetings. Welcome to Wake the Dead. Today, we are very blessed to have part two with William Ramsey on the Knights of Malta deep dive investigation. Welcome, William.
Sean, thanks for having me back. Glad to be with you again.
Wonderful. This is great. I love to have these deep dives, these like looks into history and how they connect to today's world and the power structures and the hierarchies. I like to learn about who is who's following whose orders, and really get into the understanding of the nuts and bolts of power. And these shows that you've done here with us are very informative, and we thank you very much. And we're very happy to start part two here.
Awesome. Yeah, and there's stuff that I've learned even in the 2 weeks that's passed since we did our last show. Somebody sent me something today. Like when you talk about the history, it's the past, but it's present. Like I just found out that Al Haig, who's a member of the Knights of Malta, was behind the production of Red Dawn, right? This massive anti-communist movie. And so you think like, oh, Red Dawn, funny idea, great. Whoever came up with this, good idea. Got some young hip actors. A little bit more propaganda than you might think. So like these are people influencing the common culture and things like that, and politics. So I think it's important to understand. Like Al Haig's a big player and was around like when Reagan got shot and stuff like that. But just that his involvement in Red Dawn, I think, is something else.
Well, that just goes to show how much the movies and is creating the narrative that gives us all of our fears and all of our hopes and dreams. Like it's just implanted into us from the media, and it makes perfect sense. Like,
yeah, these war movies or conflict movies. Another one that comes to mind is Pearl Harbor. Just magically comes out right after 9/11, like this huge blockbuster Pearl Harbor. Yeah.
Yeah, with that Ben Affleck guy who's like full on CIA and like admitted, like, yeah, Hollywood's full of CIA. Duh.
Yeah. So some of these things you think might be random. Like I would have thought back in the day, 20 years ago, Pearl Harbor was just kind of a random event. But today I'm like, nope, it all works together.
Right. And like when we were kids and you get the book report or the history where you got to do the project, and do I want to read it or do I want to just go watch the movie? And then Hollywood creates this movie with this false narrative, everything. They give us this is how it really happened, Pearl Harbor, really. But then if you look into the truth, you'll see it's the exact opposite. And all of those movies are created narrative, yeah, to guide our misleadings and our
Right, and our public, and how innocent our government is, right? Because there's like on the record stuff about them knowing the attack was going to happen. Like, okay, we know they're going to attack. Let's get our main ships out. Like, there's literally like records of White House meetings like a day or two before the event, was December 7th, 41. We're like, okay, everybody get ready. So people who think that they wouldn't allow, it's still in the news today. Netanyahu's here 10/7. If you don't think your governments would allow your own citizens to die for political decisions, or to get into war, you're terribly naive, because it's really the rule. It's not the exception. It happens all the time.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's for their dark magic rituals. The further you learn. And it is every time it's like that because that's required for the ritual. And
yeah, 10/7 is incredible. Like the Israeli thing he had all his ducks in a row. The people got killed. They had all their propaganda ready. Babies in the ovens. The stand down orders were done. They were covering up. The fact that they're covering up the stand down orders in Israel is what is the giveaway. Like proof. Why do you have to cover up? Yeah,
right.
So now he's here with the Trumpster. So, well,
it's really sad. Everybody, just one little comment off topic here, but everybody's all hoping change, right? With this, Trump is going to change things, and you look, and it's the same. What they're going to burn more children. They're,
Trump flat out said it. He act like a property developer. Oh, yeah. That's really nice land. We have to figure a way to get them all out of there.
Right. Ethnic cleansing.
Yeah. So it means more ethnic cleansing, more 2,000-pound bombs. So
Yeah, the war machine rolls on, like the evil, the anyway,
The
so
evil
let's.
rituals or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah,
Anyway, so
exactly.
but
It's
this is
like
like
happening. Right.
when
Go ahead.
you look like we can get into this Knights of Malta. There's another document that I have that if we get through this, I'll show you that so many of these old families are tied in with defense industries and facilitating and making wars, going back all the way to probably Napoleon or even beyond that. That they're all Knights of Malta too. So the turn and taxes, like some of these names you may hear of, or the Saxe Coburg Gothas, of which the Windsors are part of, but they're really a German house, and a lot of them kind of spread out through Europe. But they're also involved in defense and Knights of Malta, so they're involved in these wars that just plague humanity. They never stop. That's why I think there's a correlation between wanting freedom and anti-war, because these wars are what get us into all these problems, just like what's going on in Russia, which nobody really voted for, but all the defense industry wanted to do it because they made a ton of money. So it's crazy. So I think that if you're a believer in America and in freedom, you have to kind of be more anti-war than war. And well, we've been in war for 246 of our 260 years or something crazy like that. Like, just doesn't stop.
Yeah, George Carlin did stand up talking about how since America started, every 10 years we're in a major war. Like, and he did the math, and pretty much, yeah. And
But
that's
this is a
really
guy
like
here. This is a guy here behind this stuff. Galen is playing both sides. He was a Nazi. Then he was on the U.S. and his whole operation. You can see him wearing the friggin' Knights of Malta. And some of these other Nazis were not Knights of Malta. Like we know Himmler was a Knight. And this is a Catholic organization too. So this kind of sympathy for the Catholic. Hitler was a Catholic. I don't think he was a practicing Catholic, but he was raised or born into a Catholic family. But you just see this kind of even if we're fighting, like this guy's close to Dulles, who's also a Knight of Malta, CIA, Pilgrim Society, like something deeper is going on. There's deeper connections between all these guys. This guy's a perfect example of it. There's pictures of Galen in the US after World War II, like just walking around like a civilian. Incredible
wow.
stuff.
Yeah, like they always say, the Nazis didn't lose World War II. Uh, Germany did. So this guy here, Reinhard Gehlen, Gehlen. Is this where we want to start here in your
Yeah, this
notes?
is it. I mean, this is the guy. This is where we kind of left off. There he is right here. He was like a huge spy master. He ran the entire kind of Soviet office, is my understanding. So after they knew that Hitler and the Nazis were going to lose, they wanted to kind of pick him up or Western assets, because they saw that the Soviet Union was kind of going to be the next kind of conflict or whatever. So
Well, they were setting it up so the Soviet Union would be the next conflict,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's absolutely right. And then this one is just like, some people don't know where Malta is. It's directly south of Sicily, kind of in the center of the middle Mediterranean. So it's like has a great kind of location, and it's really made up of 3 islands. There's 2 main ones and then a smaller one. But apparently it's beautiful. Like I know people who've been there say it's awesome, and they have like all these old ancient castles and things like that I found. But this is kind of like, this is the cathedral in Valletta, the main city, and you can see the loving care they've taken for this cathedral. And each one of these placards is one of the knights, so it's dedicated to one of these knights, right? So
Oh,
each marble slab has this, right, going back to Saint John, right, John the Baptist. So it has an epitaph and all these kind of symbolism you kind of see today, skull and crossbones and all kinds of stuff. But it has, and also contains a Caravaggio, like one of the great Renaissance painters did a painting of John the Baptist, which is still there. It's probably priceless.
right. We spoke about that last time.
Okay. Did we get through this?
We didn't get to this part. We talked about
Okay.
John the Baptist painting from
Okay, good.
Caravaggio,
Okay,
though.
well, you have a better memory than I do. But you'll see, I think that's it in the background. I think, no, maybe not. But you'll see the Knights of Malta, Maltese cross.
Right.
But yeah, there's the so-called Star of David.
Right, with like a heart, almost like a blood droplet,
Yeah.
looks like, in the center of the star.
2 lions. Latin, right? So, I mean, these are ornate. These are lovingly cared for. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
Caravaggio.
right, right.
And then you'll see that that's the Maltese cross right there on the right and left
Mm-hmm.
in the arches.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, this is like real history. This is, and Caravaggio is rumored to have been a Knight of Malta as well.
Yes. Yeah, he was for 6 months, and then they took it away. And yeah, and he did like sequels to that painting. Kind of talked about it, where in the second one, which is hanging in London, uh, is the head depicted of the removed head of John the Baptist is Caravaggio's face.
That's right. Yeah, you said
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there it is, Caravaggio. This is in the Uffizi, right? That's kind of one of the main museums in Italy. It's in Venice. No, not Venice. It's in Florence or Firenze, and this is by Titian, the Knight of Malta. And you can see that he's pointing to the Maltese cross right there on his chest. So this is just showing the kind of history.
Was his gold chain also have a Maltese cross?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see it there. Oh,
Okay.
maybe that is the Maltese cross on his breast.
Yeah.
Good eye. Makes sense.
Right.
I can't really get it too close.
That's fine. There he is.
Right. He's making
Yes,
the.
we can, right? That book we talked about that in Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah. Satanist, Friends of LaVey and Aquino, and
Right.
Malta, and also a Knight of Malta. So,
And he had one eye. Was it like was that one of them removed in ritual? What I mean,
I don't
forget
know.
what happened there, but he had one.
There's
eye.
that famous picture of him with the other black comedian or whatever who got busted for drugging all the women.
Bill
Cosby. Yeah, him and Cosby. But Knight of Malta, the peace sign also has kind of like a.
Right, the Typhon.
Yeah, Typhon thing. So
Right.
alternate meaning. But Davis Jr. was really something else. They also use the kind of Maltese cross in this kind of, I don't watch it, but it's like this famous series of films.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah.
Right, and that was from a video game, and that it involved a lab release of a genetics altering disease which reanimates dead flesh, turns people into zombies. It's like but it starts from like a lab leak, and they're doing like gain of function type shit.
There you go. Right. Bioweapons research. Gain of function synonymous with bioweapon, and CIA just came out and changed their tune and said it's a lab leak. So all this stuff. But Fauci's out in public saying, well, we don't know, zoonotic, it could be this, it could be, just totally BSing people on TV. People can see it on my social media on X, but it's like, that guy should have been arrested so long ago.
Yeah, it's weird to see this happening. Like, why is no justice?
No justice at all. They're starting to trace stuff though. Like today, they had like stuff on USAID and their involvement in all this like crazy bioweapons research, and they were involved in all this gain of function stuff too. So like, hopefully this will wash out. Like I think that the rats are scurrying. Like they were involved in all kinds of dark stuff, and I think people are just finding out how bad it was. Like, oh wow, this is terrible. Oh, this is terrible. You mean you put money there? So, I think they're going to find hundreds of billions of dollars have just disappeared.
Right. I think this has been ever since the AIDS research. Like, I think this goes back. Fauci's been doing the same thing, creating this, and like the more I watch the Eyes Wide Shut stuff, we talk about that a lot. But the more I watch that, and I see when they talk about, there's like, oh, he's got a flu. Oh, the Asiatic flu, and like in Lolita, they got the flu, and then they're talking about the Asiatic flu, right? And then the artist who the writer guy from A Clockwork Orange, he's yelling at Alex, talking about how the doctor said it was pneumonia, but I knew what it was. Wow. Like not really pneumonia. There was something else there. And then like at 2 hours exactly in Eyes Wide Shut, the password is HIV positive. Like that's said at the same time. So I'm wondering if Kubrick was trying to tell us something about like how HIV is this device that is going to be used to kill people in the future.
Right.
I don't know if my mind is just creating this or what, but like, it seems to me that like through all these movies, there's this popping up of this, created
HIV was huge,
flu.
man. That was huge news in the 80s. That
Oh
was
yeah,
everywhere. AIDS was everywhere. I was in Northern California in the Bay Area. So, like, you would see people clearly ill, like, whoa, this is bad.
right. But I mean, what is it from? Like, it's not,
Oh,
But anyway, we don't need to get into that. But I'm just saying, like, these types of, uh, you know, culling of the population is run out of these orders of these chivalric orders. Like, they in the old days, the to in order to kill off the population, they had they emptied out Europe and everybody go to the Holy Land and
yeah, the
fight for the
Crusades.
Crusades, right?
Yeah.
And then and that would go on forever. And now the killing of our own population through war, and
Yeah.
those orders were knights, for war. They're like wartime knights, but they're also in this creation of society. It's so, and if
It's
you think
much more
about,
subtle. They present themselves as these bringers of light and do-gooders and defenders, but there's something else going on. And the fact that King Charles III is a member of the Knights of Malta should give pause to. So this guy shows, I mean, he's responsible. They had a funny thing about him, like, my heart goes out to the 60 people who died in the plane crash in DC, which is very thoughtful, but he was just involved in a mass culling of the global population where, like,
right,
the guess is Macola or like Denis Rancourt's, like 17 million people died globally from this stuff. So it's such a joke to hear. I mean, he's a key player in all this stuff. Him and Gates and Fauci.
I
Like,
wonder, because he's a key player, him mentioning that plane crash. Maybe that's something, because wasn't the plane full of Russians? Wasn't it
yeah,
like
it
a
was like a Russian gymnast and stuff.
right? And don't they have Black Hawk helicopters that work through remote control?
Yes, yeah, there's no question about
So,
it.
I mean, it's anyway going on.
Well, you got to think on all levels these days because there's so much crazy stuff going on. You can't even trust anything they say in the media. It's such a joke.
Right, right.
But yeah, so this is actually interesting because it's an overlap between the Knights of Malta and the Knights of Columbus, which you'll see all over the United States. Very powerful. But this guy, Patrick E. Kelly, right here, is being inducted into the Order of Malta, right? So this hospital, you see the Maltese cross there and St. John and Jesus Christ. But it just shows these overlap, connecting webs of political power. The Knights of Columbus has like billions of dollars under control where they invest. So it's not just a kind of a social group of Catholics or something like that. It has like some legit financial, like life insurance funds and things like that with it.
Right. Kind of like what was it? Godfather 2? Godfather 3
Yeah,
was it?
yeah,
Where he was
yeah.
investing money with the church to like, to become legitimate and not be illegal gangster anymore. But really, that's what the church is. It's just legal gangsters, is anyway, it goes
Well,
back.
there's a whole nother story to that. It was a play into a real story, which is the Vatican Bank. There was a lot of inappropriate stuff that took place. And then the Vatican banker shows up on a very important bridge, dead
Under the bridge,
under
right?
the bridge, hung
Yeah.
like a hangman from the tarot. So,
Right.
like, they sent a message, like,
Roberto Calvi,
yeah,
right?
very good, very good. So that plays into it, and also plays into the early death of one of the popes who like survived 25 days. I think he got poisoned. I forgot which
I
one it
thought it
was.
was 33 days.
Yeah, I forgot.
Pope John the First,
Yeah,
John Paul
wow.
the First, right?
Right, so
33. Like, oh, whoa.
it's yeah, so this thing, the Supreme Knights of Columbus goes back. This is just a huge, powerful organization. This is some medieval painting about the Knights of Malta. You can see the Maltese cross here. So they're firmly, ensconced in Western civilization from 11th century. But this is just some explanation of them.
Oh, of the
Hospitality.
name. Okay, so they were the. So I mean, I guess they're still the Sovereign Military Hospitaller Order of Saint John of Jerusalem, of Rhodes, and of Malta. That's their real full name, right?
Yes,
Official name.
exactly.
Okay. But they call themselves Sovereign Military Order of Malta, SMOM.
Yeah, that's the current acronym is that. That's
Right.
correct. Not to be confused with the Knights Templar, who were wrapped up in the 14th century, supposedly, and had remnants after that, which is a whole nother show, but people
Right.
confuse. This is a different order. This is different than the
Right.
Templars.
They were coexisting when there was the Hospitaller Knights and then the
Exactly.
Templar Knights.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So these are the Templar. I mean, these are
These
the Hospitallers
correct.
continued into
Right.
today.
So the Knights of the Templars were like more of the bankers type stuff. They were kind of the first international bankers, and then there were all the rumors of them bringing back kind of dark magic from the Middle East, Baphomet, and then it was Jacques de Molay, the king of France, decided he had to go, and he was put to death on Friday the 13th, which is why Friday the 13th has kind of a ominous reputation. But yeah, so that's the Templars. Supposedly broke up, then they went to, all the way outside of Edinburgh and built that castle, which is Roslin Chapel.
Right.
But all that stuff, there's Roslin City right on the other side of DC too. So this kind of history of the Templars and the Knights and stuff, I think, still pervades kind of Western culture. This is the new sovereign order head of the Knights of Malta, whose name I don't recollect, but he is making the sign that leached into the occult, which is this I am initiated.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
he's
So the palm, four fingers
mhm.
out on his belly. I remember Crowley doing that in
Yep,
his
yep.
robes. Okay.
And you see this, the kind of regalia of the Catholic Church, very kind of similar to what Crowley ripped off for the Gnostic Mass.
Oh yeah. It kind of all stems from the Roman Catholic, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Crowley got his ideas from going to Russia in 1904, I think, right during the kind of first revolution, or 1905. He went to Orthodox Church and got his ideas for the Gnostic Mass.
right.
But they still are
1904
close.
was when he received the Book of the Law too, right?
I think so. Yeah. So he was
Okay.
doing. Crowley was in strange places at very strange times, like social upheaval. Crowley shows up. So
Right.
whether it's like Mussolini's march on Rome, Crowley's there. He's there at the 1905 kind of upheaval in Russia. He's at in Germany during the Weimar Republic. U.S. during trying to get into World War One. He's in very strange places all the time.
Yeah.
Curious.
Figures, right. You notice the altar behind the guy. That Maltese cross is in an octagon. It's inside the octagon. I wonder if they use the octagon too, like the Tesseract type stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But his name is John Dunlap, so he's the first guy. I think he's from Canada.
Okay. 81st Grandmaster.
Yeah, so
He's got, I wonder what that is over his arm. This thing hanging. It's like a fabric with gold.
good question. I mean, this regalia all has meaning.
Of course, yeah.
They're just redolent with meaning, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Dunlap. There he is at the reading of something. There's the other knights. I guess there's a real issue of people ripping off the order, like of wanting to be knights. There's like a issue of authenticity. So you actually see that within the Catholic Church, and I've done shows on the wandering bishops with James Day, where there's people who can't get confirmed into the Catholic Church, so they kind of set up their fake order. And David Ferry was one of those, because he just didn't have a good reputation, so he couldn't be a priest. So he had to join this kind of like other fake thing. And so it sounds like there's the same thing happening with the Knights of Malta.
Interesting. Counterfeit knights, huh?
Yeah, counterfeit knights. Wow. Here's some of the kind of famous people, Knights of Malta in the past. Dutch Dunlap, Boslager, Juan Carlos I of Spain, King Charles III, who I mentioned earlier, formerly Prince of Wales. But you see these other kind of old famous names from Europe, like Duke of Castro, claimant to the head of the House of Bourbon, Two Sicilies, Thorbjorn Egner, I don't even know who that is, Humbert, Romans, Dominican order. So you see this overlap of like these other orders in the Catholic. And I think Andrew Bertie, they're trying to get that guy a sainthood, so he will be canonized. Yeah. So, This is pretty heavy duty stuff, I guess, in the Catholic Church. Right. And then other names, William Casey Dulles, William Donovan. These are all heavy duty, intel guys. William Casey famously said, our propaganda events will be efficient when everything the American people know is wrong. So he's not a very nice guy. This is them at St. Peter's Square. So this is the Knights of Malta. And they had some kind of like fight within the last 5 or 10 years. There was a fight between the Pope and the Knights. And he did something. I forgot what Bergoglio did, but it was something where it went bad. But this is, you can see the kind of beauty of St. Peter's Square right there with the obelisk in the background.
Right. Yeah.
Pope dissolved the Knights' leadership in 2022.
Okay.
Issued a new constitution.
So that's the new Pope, who's the
Pope Francis.
Right.
Correct, yeah. So the change, Pope issued a decree, came after 5 years of often acrimonious debate within the order and between some top members of the old guard and the Vatican over a new constitution that some fear would weaken its sovereignty. Because it is sovereign. It's sovereign from something. They are under the Holy See, but they have this kind of independence. So they kind of have their own group, and they're not an order like the Jesuits or the Dominicans. But 13,500 members, so it's not a joke. Like 95,000 volunteers and 52,000 medical staff. Like it's a huge. I would say that's pretty substantial organization.
Right. Wow.
So let's see.
So they're helping Ukrainian war victims. It says it was like they were in like war-torn places and helping with disaster relief and drug treatment.
They're supposedly in Gaza.
So what are they doing? Are they collecting organs? Are they trafficking people? Or
it's a good question. Who knows? The other thing, like, it just shows these guys overlap with other orders and stuff. So, if it's the Knights of Columbus and the Knights of Malta, like, what else is going on? But it's like it comes up to the present. Like these guys, like Bannon was involved in a school under a guy named Burke who is a Knight of Malta. So, like, his friends are the Knights of Malta. Like, it's not some kind of dead order or something like that. Like, these guys have a connection to this stuff. Right. Or whether it's Eric Prince, who's on, like, a lot of social media, who's a confirmed Knight of Malta and friends with Peter Thiel. Like, these guys are buddies. Peter Thiel's running Palantir and involved in, like, the AI killings in Gaza. So, like, this kind of should make people a little nervous. Thiel is a known member of Bilderberg.
Right. Oh, but I thought the Jews ran the world.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, just like the international. This goes back to the Umbrella Corporation you were talking about, Resident Evil.
Right.
So,
yeah,
but it's a strange connection.
But that's still the Iron Cross of, like, the Nazis. It's the, all that stuff. It's the cross on top of the crown of King Charles III,
And just like flow charts of all these people connected to each other. Kofi Annan, Maurice Strong is a notorious New World Order name. friends of David Rockefeller, who we've talked about with that girl, Annika. What was her name? Annika Lucas, who
Annika
was like
Lucas.
abused. She specifically stated his name and that he was doing weird mind control stuff to her, like trying to zap her brain.
Yeah.
And then these Washington Post September paid UN photograph Count Carlos Marullo de Condo Johnny Grant, Chancellor of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. They're all connected. World Parliament, UN, and they the Knights of Malta have a seat at the UN, so they're connected to the UN, so it makes perfect sense.
Wow.
Pat Carone, Pope Pascal II approved new institution, 1200. The most venerable order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem is a British order of chivalry under the crown established in 1888. So there's this kind of overlap between these guys and the British crown.
Right.
And then their military order of Malta, venerable Concordat. Many members belong to both orders. So you just see all this stuff. Crazy. This guy Fulner is a big time player at the Heritage Foundation, overlapping memberships in all these knighthoods. Like crazy stuff. Like he's a Malta member, Club of Rome. I mean, it's crazy. So the Heritage Foundation has, like, they're behind Charlie Kirk's Turning Point. You see Charlie Cook on social media all the time talking to people at schools and stuff. This guy's overseers are Knights of Malta, right? So
Wow.
oh yeah, I mean, and this is Darren. This guy does great research. People should check him out on YouTube. I mean, on X at golden_nuggies NUGGIEZ. But it's just another example of like the hidden hand behind the stuff that a lot of people aren't really talking about, right? And that's Edwin Fulner to it. One of the interesting things, like I mentioned, Charles I and this kind of tribute of the Maltese Falcon, right? So that was kind of the payment for Charles I, I think back, what is it, 16th century. But so this kind of Maltese Falcon is part of the history of Malta and the Knights of Malta, but it's kind of seeped into the culture of the 20th century through the film The Maltese Falcon with Humphrey Bogart and Peter Lorre and some of these other characters. So it is interesting because this symbolizes the Maltese Falcon as this falcon that's given to, I think it was the Holy Roman Emperor, as payment for the use of the islands of Malta.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And it said directed by John Huston.
Right. Good eye. Good eye.
Yeah. That one, forget about it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Yeah.
That whole Chinatown thing, like John Huston actually did impregnate his daughter.
You did? I'm not surprised.
It's like some incest. Like people look into that.
I think it was his friend. It was the guy who was. The guy who's
remembering it wrong. I don't know.
But no, I think he was supposedly involved with the girl who died in L.A. Right? He got cut up in little pieces.
Oh, right. I did a show about it with Amy.
No, it was the oh, what's her name? I see her face. Anyway, it was that whole story. He was Black Dahlia, yeah. Right. So the father was definitely, he was a total monster.
Right.
Like whatever his name was Hogard or something like that. But he was friends with John Huston.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Right. All that dude is deep in it, that Huston guy.
Oh, and super deep.
The doctor Hodel, I think.
Hodel, yeah, George Hodel.
He did abortions for all the Hollywood people, so of course.
Yeah, and he was raping his daughter. He impregnated his daughter. Her name, she had Tamar, or she had some kind of unusual name. Yeah. But she was friends, like one of her best friends was the girl from California Dreaming. It was dude, it's so crazy because the other guy in that band, it was the Mamas and the Papas, right?
Right.
So one of them is like dies early, 27 Club. This girl is friends with Tamar Hodel. And then Phillips was definitely in a sexual relationship with his daughter for 10 years. Right. Like she acknowledged it. Like, yeah, I was.
Sick.
dude, Hollywood's sick.
Yeah.
And Houston like pops up because it's Chinatown is almost like what happened in these fires here, because it was about water. Like water isn't coming down. The
Right.
the reservoirs aren't full. And
Right.
it's like Chinatown. Like, what are you doing? Like they're playing games with everything. It's so crazy here in California.
Yeah, you got to get out of
250,
there, man. You
yeah,
got
$250 billion in losses, not 250 million. And they're just goofing around. They're not doing, I mean, even now they're like no permits and everything's toxic and we're going to set in a special administrator. It's like a bunch of communists who burn it down and then controlled the build back. And now they're going to have equity.
Right.
Whenever they say equity, somebody's going to get raped. So that's when you hear equity in any situation, somebody's going to get scammed because they're just going to make it up. Just like they
Right.
did in North Carolina. They said that the reason they didn't give like help to these people in an emergency is because of equity. Like I don't know what that means. So anyway,
Right.
so
I mean, it's in the old days they would have an invading force come and take land, but now with New World Order, you got to have like, oh, God did it, you know, and then they go in and they still take the land. You know, I mean, it's not
right.
anyway. Yeah, that's the new
No,
way.
it's so true. I mean, look at freaking Lahaina. Lahaina's a disaster. They do not
Yeah,
the New World Order media does not want to cover what they're doing there because they have no intention of building it back to
yeah.
anything of its same shape.
You shared a picture of some of what the shacks they were building,
Yeah,
and on Twitter, and I looked. It looks just like Jonestown. I mean, what are
yeah,
they
it might
doing?
be. They'll
Right,
probably put up some big speakers and just propagandize people.
right.
This is the greatest city you've ever lived in, right?
Right. Take your drugs.
Yeah, take your drugs. We will deliver them straight to you.
Yeah, yeah. Through the needle.
Yeah.
Right.
Kool-Aid is free, guys.
Right,
Kool-Aid's
right,
free.
right.
All the Kool-Aid you can drink. Anyway, so the Maltese Falcon. So you see, like when you kind of see the bigger picture of the Knights of Malta, you see how it pervades so much stuff. Charlie Kirk, dude, this guy's run by dudes from the night. Like they're literal, believe they're knights. So there's Humphrey Bogart with the Knight of Malta. This is the kind of Maltese style cross that's involved in one of the Yale secret societies that the governor of Florida is involved with. So there's kind of like this bleed over with that too. What's the Italian guy's name? I can't remember right now. There was a big kerfluffle. Seymour Hersh is probably one of the best known journalists out there, and covered my lives, been around for decades. But he got into a dispute during the Iraq War and occupation by saying, some of these guys are like Knights of Malta, or they're on a kind of semi-crusade. And he gave a speech in Kuwait about it and made some people very unhappy. But you can see this kind of thing right here. But he mentioned Stanley McChrystal, JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, said he was, and William McRaven were members of the Knights of Malta. So he said that also part of Opus Dei, which overlaps. So Opus Dei is a very powerful Catholic network globally, even in the U.S., but all over the world. But Hirsch says he described an attitude among a large percentage of JSOC personnel as being anti-Muslim and driven by a crusader mentality. He quoted one individual as saying, quote, "We're going to change mosques into cathedrals. That's an attitude that pervades, I'm here to say, a large percentage of the Joint Special Operations Command." So that's it. And I think McChrystal is buddies with the Blackwater founder, Eric Prince.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there he is. So it's Eric Prince on Russia Today talking about the Knight of Malta tradition. This is from 2014. And this guy, Eric Prince, was kind of involved when they had the inquiry about how when they tried to blow Trump's head off in July, he was sitting there with two other guys who were Green Berets or like had military backgrounds. So these guys are pretty intense. So here's some other members: Paul Behrens, Joseph Smits, Department of Defense, Blackwater, Rupert Murdoch, Knight of Malta, Haig, who I mentioned at the intro, Secretary of State for Reagan, Phyllis Schlafly, who was a very kind of hard right person here in the States, And Cardinal Raymond Burke, that's who I mentioned earlier, who's a friend of Stephen Bannon. Franz von Papen, who was kind of in the far right or right wing of Germany. And Jimmy Savile. Wow.
Yep. You
And there's
pull
a
up
pic.
the dirtiest rocks, and there he is, hiding under there like a worm. He's always there under the dirtiest rocks, man.
Suspicious trips to Israel, Stranger Thing. I mean, I did a show on Savile, and it just is the darkest stuff imaginable. It's just the darkest.
Sick.
Necrophilia, buried at 33 degrees like a witch facing east or whatever, or west.
Yeah, that was whoa. And I mean, and what he did with his mother, like he called her the Dame. This Phyllis
Countess
Schlafly
or
was
something
considered
like her, or
Dame
something. Yeah.
too. And isn't Dame like don't they have the female order we were
Yes.
talking about in the first
Yes.
one, and they were called Dame too,
Exactly.
right? Maybe she had a place in the hierarchy. I wonder.
Maybe she did. I wouldn't be surprised. Dude, this guy's Savile's buddies with Charles III.
Yeah.
Like there's pictures together. There's like video of Savile like gotta run going into Buckingham Palace, and they would just let him in. They wouldn't check his backpack or anything. He'd just walk in like a boss.
There was one, he was on a talk show in the 70s or something where he was talking about how he snuck in a young girl in the trunk of his boot of his car into the palace. I forget, he was like telling it like it was a fun story. Oh man.
Yeah, no, anyway, he was a magician.
Yeah,
there's kind of a famous
born on Halloween too, right?
Yeah, he's the seventh son too, which is also kind of scary.
Yeah, well,
like just everything about him is off. But like he turned into some kind of whack. Oh, he had a weird relationship with the Yorkshire Ripper. Like there's pictures of them together. Have you seen that?
Yeah. He went to visit and made sure, and the Ripper was like mad that he didn't know who he was visiting, like didn't know that it was going to be him. It's like interesting the way when I heard from the Ripper's point of view, like he wasn't trying to be there in that picture, but Jimmy really wanted it, you know.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
And there's like all kinds of stuff, satanic ring. I'm trying to find the Savile picture because we showed the guy who was the head of the Knights of Malta making that kind of initiatory hand gesture, and there's a picture
Palm
of Savile
belly, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And Savile was friends with the king's dad too, so the Duke of Edinburgh. But I mean, some of these pictures have gotten lost over time. But let me see if I can find.
Wasn't the king's dad the guy that said that he wanted to come back as a virus and kill off?
He sure did.
Yeah,
he sure did.
Right, and he was a Nazi too, right?
He's from Germany. They kind of covered up his past history because it was too scandalous. But yeah, there's like stuff of him on like parades and Nazi parades and stuff while he was younger.
Man, so crazy.
This is him with Princess Grace.
Pictures,
wow, bro.
And it makes me think again of that bleach blonde, like that Illuminati, like what, you know, Slim Shady had it, and like all these. And we were just talking with Brett and Hans, and I did a show. I didn't put it out yet, but we did one about Eyes Without a Face, this film from 1960, and then we mentioned Billy Idol, who's singing that song and like reprogramming the traumatized, and he's got that hair too, and it's like this bleach blonde. Wow. And like in the video he's like in the magic circle, and he's like singing Say Your Prayers, and there's guys in robes behind him, and it's like, whoa, you know. But this Jimmy Savile, it was bleach. Like he started with black hair, right? Or like dark
something
hair.
Like he had dark hair, and then next thing you know, he's got this weird bleached hair. But he's like a jester from the Middle Ages.
Yes.
He like took on this whole other like mind thing. But
like you'd think he probably has a smiley face on his lapel pin.
Oh, no question. No question. Watch, like, look at how normal he was back in the day, though. Like you can kind of see like his progression. Just looks like kind of like a sophisticated younger guy, and then next thing you know, it's like, I've got this whole image and the cigar and all that stuff.
Right.
But there's pictures of him with Elvis and I mean, the Beatles,
Right.
and
So, like, as if he was the dark occult handler of all those people,
yeah,
you
something
know,
almost just like
like the
that.
gatekeeper for their whatever.
And he really kind of was a talent. Like he made people's careers or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But he wasn't a Jew, huh? He went to Roman
No.
Catholic Church and abused the little girls right there in the mass while it was happening.
I think he was a stone cold Catholic. I think that's the
Yeah.
way he was raised.
Yeah. He went like every day or some crap. I forget what.
Yeah, and he got all kinds of like accolades and stuff like that from the Catholic Church.
Right. And we know from their dark occult, like we know that the more evil you do, the more good you have to do to balance it out so that you can
Do
fit
more
through the eye of
evil.
the needle,
Yeah.
like, right, and make your way to heaven or whatever the hell they think they're going after.
Here's his eyes wide shut look.
Nice. This domino mask. Purple, right? Royal purple.
Oh, purple, yeah. Oh, here's another picture of him. This is almost indistinguishable. It shows Savile's freaking progression, but like look at this. Like this guy he's like a normal presenter. Look at this. It's just like a normal dude in an outfit with a proper part in his hair and things like that. But man,
Right. Yeah. And then somebody dosed him with dark magic.
who knows? Somewhere he got initiated. There's
Yeah.
pictures of him doing all the like the Illuminati hand gestures, like I'm covering one eye, or
Right. Of
God, I wish I
course.
could find that
Of
freaking
course.
that one where he's initiated. He's in this Green Man outfit too, which is even creepier. But he's like in the full on kind of like druid outfit.
Right.
Let me see if I can find it somewhere else. I don't know. Anyway,
So yeah, that druid stuff connects to the Knights Templar stuff because they went to
yeah.
Scotland and Ireland, and and that's some other stuff. I guess we can go deep into some other day.
But they're like, I think there's some kind of thing about even the Queen was involved in druidism or something like that too.
Right.
Have you heard that?
Well, yeah, and I talked to Carrie Olahe was abused by druid cult members, and they had that same ancient religion of the druids.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jimmy. So there's the guys out there at St. Peter's. Okay, so this is Burke. This is the guy. He's got his little like hand across his chest. This is the buddies with Bannon, and they started something called Dignitas Humanae Institute.
Did you see the ring on it? He's got the black square on his ring. It's a black square. Like that's some evil crap.
Dark, man.
Yeah, you gotta look at those things.
I've heard like all kinds of stuff, like even the outfits on the top are pagan. Like the hat goes back to paganism and stuff. Like it's not from Christianity. It's not from like New
Dogon.
Testament Christianity. Yeah, Dogon or something crazy.
Yeah, it's like a fish face. It's like a fish head. It's supposed to be like the open mouth of a fish.
Oh man, dude. Yeah,
and
so this is
Jesus with his two fish. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I mean, it's just like the connections are crazy. When you see it all together, it's just like, whoa. But anyway, the Dignitatis Humanae Institute has ties to some of the most conservative factions inside the Catholic Church. In 2014, the Institute invited Steve Bannon as one of its keynote speakers at a conference to discuss poverty, during which he praised European far-right parties. And then Raymond Burke, president of the Institute's board of advisors, said that Bannon and would be a founder, blah, 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 succeeded by British royal family member Lord Nicholas Windsor. So, like, you just see these overlaps between these different people. But anyway, so that's like a Bannon connection to Knight of Malta. That guy's a stone cold Knight of Malta.
Yeah.
This other one is this woman, Alina Habas, whose dad is like a chancellor in the United States for the Knights of Malta U.S., but she is now like, if you remember Kellyanne Conway, right? Do you remember Kellyanne Conway?
Yeah.
She's in that position now.
Oh.
And Daddy is a Knight of Malta. And there's this Leonard Leo, who's a guy we'll get into, is like behind a lot, is a Knight of Malta. He's behind a lot of the installations of the Supreme Court justices who were right wingers. So pretty crazy. So that's her dad. His name is Saad F. Haba. They are Chaldean Catholics. So they're like Catholics from a history before like the modern nation states of the Middle East were ever put together. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So that's Alina Haba and Kellyanne Conway.
Huh.
That's her dad with the Knight of Malta thing. So it's going to be interesting. There's his name right there, Chancellor. I mean, the other interesting thing about the Knights of Malta is that there's so much information online. They have a lot of websites. They don't have member lists, but they show how complex they are. They, like you mentioned, the women who are involved. So they show the women's Knight of Malta stuff. So it's not like it's some kind of super secretive organization. There's probably secrets within it, but you can find out a lot of stuff just by reading and bouncing around. So you kind of see the sub-priory. That's what they call the women's stuff, the sub-priory of Our Lady of Lourdes.
It's funny, like lady is the female version of lord. Like the word lord is like the ruler, but lady is also, it's like female version of lord, and that's Lady of Lords. It's spelled a little different, but it's weird. Lord of Lords. Like, anyway.
So this is her with the future head of the FBI, maybe Kash Patel. There's Eric Prince. This was I was mentioning earlier, the Trump assassination hearing. This is Eric Prince, Knights of Malta, with two guys, Bongino, who I think is a right wing commentator,
podcaster. My coworker listens to him every day. Yeah,
and
I guess he used to be the Secret Service or something.
Yes, I believe you're right. Yeah. So expert analysis was Eric Prince on the assassination. So he's kind of close up. There he is on this guy. Sean Ryan is somebody to watch. I don't even know where he came from. He's had some interesting people on his show. I would.
There was just a recent thing on there.
Yeah, we had this girl on. He said anybody who questions the 9/11 stories, friends with the terrorist or whatever, from the CIA. But anyway, yeah. Eric Prince was on there too. So this is recent. This is one of the number one shows in the world. This guy, Sean Ryan,
came out of nowhere too.
Came out of nowhere, dude.
Suspicious.
Former ex-CIA. Yeah, so
right. Yeah,
I'm sus about all these dudes. So this is more about her. She's kind of ruffled the feathers of the Knights of Malta.
Yeah, he's the one that just had that story with the exposing the explosion there on the Nord Stream pipeline.
Yeah,
that whole thing, and everybody got mad at him for doing that too. He's always there, kind of pulling the feathers, pricking them a little bit, but he doesn't go too deep. It isn't like, and it's always a little bit too late. You know what I mean? He doesn't really.
He picks his timing. Is picked very, very prudently. But yeah, he. I guess if they're screaming at you, you're doing a good job. Or
at least that he's doing something.
Yeah,
either that or he's controlled opposition. But
well,
or a revelation of the method, like.
He,
it's true. Yeah.
That's a whole nother story. I'm sure they play as many, subtle game as they can. I mean, if he's in DC, he's around all those people, so he relies on some of those people for stories. So I don't know if he's going to be a real muckraker. They wouldn't last in DC that long, in my opinion. But anyway, this is kind of another interesting thing: is this Knights of the Holy Sepulchre, which is another order. Like the Knights of Malta, not much heard about, but some of these guys are also the Knights of Malta or Knights of the Holy Sepulchre. So just like this Fjellner guy, who's the head of the Heritage, he's both a Knight of Malta and a Knight of the Sepulchre. So really interesting guy.
Now, the Holy Sepulchre, is that the church where supposedly Jesus was entombed?
Correct. The Holy, it was the model for the churches at the City of London, right? And then also supposedly in Aachen, where Charlemagne was enthroned. It was based upon the Holy Sepulchre too.
I see.
It's interesting. Like, this is Dolan. He's always shows up next to Trump. He's like a big wig, Catholic big wig in New York City. And he just had this. This is fairly recently in November. He was talking about the Knights of Malta. Have you ever heard of the Knights of Malta? Knights and Dames of Malta. They do their magnificent apostolate rather quietly and humbly. So you can check that video out.
Rather occultedly, you know.
A little quiet. Maybe quiet is better. Oliver North, Knight of Malta. So, you know, you just kind of these names that people take advantage of. This is like an interest. Hegseth is this new Secretary of Defense who has this kind of like interesting tattoos. One, this is definitely the Jerusalem tattoo, I think is what it's called.
I thought that this was a specific, the thing with the main cross with the 4 other crosses around it. It's like I've seen that one specific. It's not the Knight of Malta.
It's not. It's definitely not. But it's kind of the same kind of cloth, cut from the same cloth. Okay. Jimmy Carter, when Jimmy Carter passed away, they used the same thing for his. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. Really? So this is Jimmy Carter's share screen. So, I mean, I don't know what Carter's background is, but this is when he passed away. This was just January 9th, less than a month ago.
Interesting.
At the National Cathedral. But this is a whole nother show I have to do because the attendees of this thing were off the charts, dude. It's just the most incredible thing. It was so incredible. I can't even believe they got all these people together under one roof. They're just like some dark stuff, man.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter's administration. Everybody talks about, oh, Jimmy Carter was great. Oh, look at, but then like look at who he had in his cabinet. Like, a lot of the evil that is still happening today was started with Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, he had more connections than people knew.
Oh, well, he's just a peanut farmer.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah,
that is our head of the Supreme Court, right? Robert's heading into a Knights of Malta place in Italy.
Right, and he was just appointed. You're the leader now. When he was joined the court. Okay, now you're the guy.
You're
bigger
the guy.
Than all the other ones.
By Junior, right? Bush Jr.
Yes.
Whose dad is Prescott is known. His grandfather's a known Knight of Malta too. So
right, and Bush Jr.'s mother might have been Aleister Crowley's daughter.
She sure looks like him.
Yeah.
It's almost like something crazy from like the book Dune or something like that. Like they got bloodlines together and did something crazy.
I believe that George H.W. Bush was gifted Barbara Bush to be his wife for the bloodline factors. I think that because of his importance in the Dark Orders and because of what he's done to help kill Kennedy and all those evil, all the opium poppies and all the smuggling, and they rewarded him by, here you go, buddy. I think that's how it works. Like,
I think in the really dark elite stuff, that I think you're right. And it's weird because if you look at their relationship, it started very young. Like she was 14 or 15. So it's like an arranged marriage. Like this is your
right.
And we can get into George Bush Sr.'s tastes and what else he was doing when he wasn't with his wife, but he was not
read Kathy O'Brien.
That gets pretty dark.
Yeah. Bush babies, right? That whole thing, right?
Who attended Jimmy Carter's memorial right there in the front on January 9th, 2025. Junior, right there in front, Right. So like it was a vampire ball, dude. It was crazy. It's literally so insane. They literally had like Obama was there. Melania's crying. She's like literally crying through the whole thing. So if you see her face, she's freaked out. She's freaked out at being at this church with all these people. And then Garth Brooks sings Imagine at the end. And if you've looked into my research into the smiley face killers, his name comes up.
Right. Is Garth Brooks a killer?
According to some psychics, he's.
Right.
I mean, I didn't say it. I'm not saying it. That's the thing.
I know.
I'm researching somebody else's thing.
Right.
Oh, dude, it's so.
But then, it goes dark. I mean, you think like, oh, Garth Brooks, he's cool, or oh, like Billy Ray Cyrus, he's a fun guy. But then, like, whoa, you learn more. Holy crap! Like, they
somebody sent me something about Brooks where they said his whole career was kind of fabricated.
Right.
Like he was you think of like an artist comes out of somewhere and like they're an authentic artist, and then you realize, whoa, this was like a creation of like higher levels. Well, that's Garth Brooks apparently.
Right. And he was the beginning of the arena country.
Yeah.
Like Led Zeppelin did the arena rock and roll, like brought it to the huge audiences, and Garth Brooks was doing these huge shows. It was like a U2 audience, like, whoa, look at all these people, and U2, they're so evil too. And I mean, all that stuff. It's like he was like one of the busy bees, worker bees, like doing their machinations,
doing their bidding.
Yeah,
whatever. Right. So here's another one. This guy's a right-wing kind of commentator, African-American, Alan West, former congressman, proudly that he had been invested in the something. I don't think they got the right. They say it's in the Knight Templars. I don't know. Maybe he is a reformed Templar, but I think it's in Malta.
Take an oath to protect the Christians in the Holy Land. So why are they ravaging Syria? Why are they? I mean, what are they like? The Christians in the Holy Land currently are being mutilated and destroyed.
Yeah, they're not doing a very good job of doing. There's a lot of Arab Christians who are getting annihilated too, by the way.
Right.
Like double tap. Not all those Hamas people in the Gaza are all Muslims. So
yeah, really. They're evil, that's for sure.
It's just
all evil.
Genocide.
These Knights of Malta guys are evil, and they pay for the lower orders of people that are evil to do the other things that are evil, and it's just,
that they don't want to touch or they want to outsource or whatever. Mm-hmm. This was just an interesting thing. I did a show with Bosley about esoteric Napoleon. Napoleon kicked the Knights of Malta off their island in 1798 on the way to Egypt. They made their way back, but it's just kind of one interesting thing. King of Jerusalem. So that's the Jerusalem cross. You see that right there. It's Godfrey de Bouillon. And literally the cross of the Crusader state. So Jimmy Carter and Hegseth.
Wow.
Where have that thing? There it is again. Jimmy Carter. These are public membership. So this is like something I asked AI, and there is no public membership. Ireland has a little outpost of the Knights of Malta. You see the celebrating 850 years of the Order of Malta in Ireland. This is the connection to the United Nations is this Paul Beresford, and he is appointed permanent observer of the Sovereign Order of Malta to the United Nations 2019. So a lot of those characters.
Right. Rings within rings, and they're all connected.
Yeah. Steering of the Bilderberg, Thiel, he's friends with, who's trying to get, this is something Thiel and Eric Prince, who was like the Knight of Malta, working together to fund Cambridge Analytica data scam. So these guys are involved in all kinds of subterfuge.
And wasn't that the reason, wasn't Cambridge Analytica a big part of Trump's first election?
Yeah. Bannon. So you see this nexus, Bannon, Prince, Thiel, Bilderberg, Knight of Malta nexus. There's no question about it. These are known members. I don't know who was an unknown member too. This is back in 2018. Eric Prince is one of the top donors to the PAC that paid for Cambridge Analytica's work for the Trump campaign. So I've done a show on Cambridge Analytica. What it did was like it analyzed data from social media and then maximized it, right? Maximized the impact of certain things. if I remember correctly. So
Right.
micro-targeted users with news to steer ideas. That was like to make it look real too. It's kind of like astroturfing.
Right.
Peter Thiel, major U.S. political donor, is said to pursue Maltese citizenship 2022. So that's kind of interesting.
Palantir guy too, right?
Palantir, right?
Yeah.
Notorious mercenary Eric Prince is advising Trump from the shadows, 2017. And the subtext is Blackwater founder Eric Prince wants Trump to revive the CIA's Phoenix assassination program. Wow, that's not nice. Phoenix is freaking hell. They killed like 40,000 people. Trudeau, this whole story of Trudeau, which ties into Annika Lucas, right? So, like, just weird Nexus type stuff. Douglas Fairbanks, who was a known actor, was literally a knight. You can see him with his Maltese cross on his this necklace is right around his neck.
Right. The biggest medal. He's got all those other little ones there, but the
Right.
most important one is the big one. Right.
Douglas Fairbanks dancing at the Knights of Malta Ball. Gunga Din, I think, was the famous movie he was in.
Right.
There he is with his huge Maltese cross. I don't know. The guy on the left looks familiar. I don't know who it is, though. There's Fairbanks with Nancy Reagan and the Princess of Monaco, a.k.a. Grace Kelly.
And Nancy looks like the Scarlet Whore. Nice dress.
She sure does. And the death of Grace Kelly was so weird. She was involved with this other crazy order, which was she was involved with the Solar Temple that was in the south of France. And when her car crashed, it landed on like a Solar Temple property. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. We should do a show about the Solar Temple, because I think they were kind of like this fake order that tried to make like they were the Knights of Malta, but they weren't. But they integrated a lot of Crowley stuff into their rituals. Really dark. And then they had a mass suicide and like 75 people died, almost like Jim Jones. Yeah, the Solar Temple's crazy. And her connection to it, like, this is dark, super dark stuff.
I'm making a note. We should do Solar Temple show.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'll send you what I got. So this was the guy who was passed over for kingship, but it's Prince Edward. He was the guy who supposedly had Nazi sympathies, and then they passed over him. He's making a reading of the Knights of Malta. This is 1933, so before the World War II.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's Cardinal Baum with Rose Kennedy. That's the matron of the entire Kennedy squad at a Knights of Malta ball in Palm Beach. Clerkenwell Priory is in the city of London, attached. It's property of the Knights of Malta. There it is. You can go see it. They have their own museum of the Order of St. John. There it is with the Knights of Malta cross. So just and this is actually on the road. So the Via Dolorosa is the road. They say Christ carried his cross to his crucifixion.
Oh.
And this is on the Via Dolorosa, is this German part of the Knights Templar. So it's Jugendander Ordens Hospice with the Maltese cross. So you can see that in Jerusalem.
Wow.
The Holy City. Yeah, there it is. This is from a long time ago. There's the Via Dolorosa. This is kind of the intro. I tried to kind of include some of these other royal families, but you see the Holland Beatrix, I think she has an interesting history too, but she's being invested as a dame by Prince Bernard.
Didn't she start the Bilderberg Group?
I think so. Something like that. But there's the Knights of Malta. The Monastery of St. John of Jerusalem, that's, I think, in Clerkenwell. Grand Cross of Order, I don't know who that is. Oh, this is Alina Habba's dad. So this is December 8th, 2024. White House team as counselor to the president. So literal counselor to the president, whose dad is a high-level member of the Knights of Malta. So I don't think that that's like an actual position. She's just a counselor. So interesting.
Wow. Like the dark occult priest who's like whispering in the ear of the king,
Yeah, we got to get this and make sure all these Muslims go down, I think I said in another show about the Knights of Malta, is like the Muslims in the Middle East better be nervous with the people surrounding Trump, because this is, you want to talk about like the Jews have it out for you. these people have a grudge, like a 1,000-year grudge, maybe. I don't even know. You got to watch out.
Right.
Anyway, so this is Leo. This is kind of another guy behind the scenes. You don't know his name. They've written stuff about him, but he's a devout Roman Catholic, and he's a Knight of Malta, and he's installed all these other like important people in the Supreme Court. He has connections to, I think, formerly Scalia, and then the two conservative guys. But there's Roberts is definitely involved, Knight of Malta, but I think the other two guys whose names I can't remember, not Alito and the new guy from Colorado, I can't remember.
Yeah, the guy with the glasses. I forget him.
Yeah, I forget. And then this is just like Grandmasters going out to Kenya. So there's political stuff. Uhuru knighted into the Saints. So this is, they're knighting other people in there. This is 2022 from Kenya. This guy was inducted, President Kenyatta, as a Knight of the Most Venerable Order. So, and then just like other things like the Ark of the Covenant that Trump had. Let me see if I can bring up this other document. Let's see.
So Trump had his own Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago.
He sure did. Sure did.
And he also had that door in that Domino's commercial with the
we can show that again. The
Tesseract, golden Tesseract doorway.
Let's just show it again. Show it again for people. He missed it last time.
I mean, it's so funny that people think Trump is going to save them. I mean, he's furthering their what they want, and he's a member of what they do. And it's just sad that people think that this is going to be the savior. We're just going to walk around into the
they just spent $500 billion on a new MNRA AI crazy stuff. Like, what the hell is this? He hasn't repeated anything. He hasn't
had some kind of like space shot name. Yeah, there you go. It's square within the square on his golden door. Yeah,
and the golden background, like what he must think about by himself, like, and it's gilded everything.
Bro, and the other about himself. He looks in the mirror all the time.
Do you know what's interesting about this too? It's not just one pizza; it's three. So it's the box on top of the box, like Chevron, right?
Right.
I mean, do you think there's something to that? Like I want to do three, man.
I mean,
maybe that was the deal. It's 3 pizzas for $5 or something.
Right. But I mean, it's it's pizza itself, and Domino. Like the Domino is the mask of the Eyes Wide Shut party, right? And Domino's pizza, right? Like what was happening in the Rainbow Room and Eyes Wide Shut, right? Like the fucking excuse my language. Anyway,
5-5-5 deal, 3 pizzas for $5. Oh, $5 each, yeah, but that's a full Tesseract that Trump has to know.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy that has golden toilets, he's being controlled by the Knights of Malta.
He's definitely something's going on, like crazy. But this is an interesting document about the Knights of Malta and so many of these rich royal families that operate behind the scenes of everything.
Right.
But you'll see these two guys like you. This is a great document. I don't know if I have time to go over this, but like Prince Carlo Massimo.
Right. We saw his face on the last episode. I remember.
Did I go through this? I don't think so.
No, not this, but I think I remember his face.
Sanguinetto, so Knights of Maltese Cross. This is French, so this is like Rochefoucauld Montbel. Esterhazy Gathanta, so that's Austria-Hungary Empire. Boslager, German Note. These are all ordered members of the Knights of Malta. Look at this guy. He's got like his thumbs together. He's got his Maltese crossed. Sicily and Spain. Thorbjorn Paterno Castello di Aragona. You know, when they have more than one name, you know they're powerful. Brazilian, Prince Bertrand, Maltese cross. Luis of Orleans, Braganza. Hohenzollern, Prussia. So, you know, I mean, just go Brandenburg. These are all like old line families. Prince Juan Carlos of Spain. This is Andrew Bertie I mentioned earlier. They're trying to give him, he's from the House of Stuart, trying to give him a sainthood.
Crazy.
Some Italians, Knights of Malta. These are all these huge families. Habsburg, Archduke Karl von Habsburg, right? This, if it sounds familiar, like I think it was
George
Archduke
and Carl,
yeah.
brothers.
But one of those was like their relative was the one who died in Serbia and started off World War One, right? I think it was Archduke Ferdinand Habsburg.
Right. Okay.
Furstenberg, Shigi Albani della Rovere. You know, who are these people? But you can see they're in regalia, man. Like this, they have all their crosses and Prince Carlo of Bourbon, Two Sicilies. Prince Pedro of Bourbon, Two Sicilies, Knight of Malta. So this is like a huge deal. Prince Mariano Hugo of Windisch Greats. But these are names you never see. Never see in public. These are guys behind the scenes. Athens, Greece. So you have royalty. Prince William Boykin, current Grand Chancellor of the Florida-based Sovereign Order of St. John of Jerusalem, Knights of Malta. This guy was a bigwig. This guy was huge.
He was Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence under George W. Bush.
Walker Bush. The Bushwalkers are the primary managers, owners of military-industrial complex with Vannevar Bush, founder of Raytheon. Wes Bush is the current chairman for Northrop Grumman. Stephen Walker is the director of DARPA. And Gina Haspel, who's still in power, director of the CIA. I think she may be gone. Many Bushwalkers are members of Skull and Bones, which is a covert military council. They made war on Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, they did. So Boykin's a member. You'd never know that guy. Armand Gaduri, Jesuit, Georgetown, covert Knight of Malta, advisor through the Department of Defense through the company Control Risks. He's involved in staging false flags, and he is a ruthless murderer. Well, that's not very nice.
Well written.
I mean, just be blunt about it. This is a guy you never freaking hear about.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah,
so
I mean,
it just
like,
goes on and on.
Like I was saying with the joke earlier about how, like, I thought it was only Jews, right? It's so hidden. I mean, even though you can find this information online, it is occulted. Nobody's looking at these people. I mean, everybody knows the Prince of England or King of England's bad, whatever. But what is he connected to? Why? Oh, he's in this magical thing where, you know, the City of London magic circle, and he's in this other thing, you know, the Knights of Malta, and these. Okay, how do these connect? Why, you know, where's the hierarchy? You know, who's on top of where, and what? How does it disseminate? And you know, with the it seems like the Knights Hospitaller have maintained their power and doing the will of the Roman Catholic Church ever since the 1000 AD or whatever, you know.
It just shows how powerful the Catholic Church is, because this is just one small element. This isn't the Jesuits. It's not the Dominicans. I mean, remember, these guys get taxed. They don't get taxed, right? Because they're part of a church, too. So there's no taxes on anything. Right. So whatever money they generate or whatever's donated stays with them.
Right.
But it just shows how powerful the Catholic Church is, and just the Knights Templar. I mean, the Knights of Malta. Just
And like everybody says, like, oh yeah, you know the Roman, the Rome never fell; it just turned into the Catholic
Right.
Church. But then, how does it maintain power if it's just a religion now? Well, this here is how it does this. Like it puts people, specific individuals, into specific governments and bloodlines of royal families, and that's how the power is maintained, and we see their symbols all throughout, like, oh, that's where their allegiance is held. Okay, so it is this is the nuts and bolts of the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, and its dominance over the world state,
You know,
basically, right?
marry within each other and keep their bloodlines together. And
Exactly. Like the Bene Gesserit
yeah,
of Dune, right?
yeah, no, it's like it makes me think of Dune,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Like this is the way they do it, and their bloodlines and their stuff is much more important to them maybe than the average person who
Right.
actually marries and finds somebody
Right.
they're attracted to and get along with.
Right.
It's different.
And the maternal line is very important to them and the occult stuff. But with finances and modern whatever, everybody, it's the paternal lineage of the name, and all the property goes to the firstborn son or whatever. But it seems like in the occult, all of the power stays into the maternal lineage, which is really hidden, because the wife takes the man's name, but all that stuff is still maintained. The family trees are all still tracked by these occultists, and they know who's who and
Oh, they know
where they
they know
belong.
each other.
Yeah.
They're all the royalty have their own kind of like internal thing. Like they know each other. They do. And there's like old pictures of like the bloodlines of the Saxe Coburg Gothas and the Romanov family. They look the same, dude. Before the revolution of
Yeah, they were cousins,
1918,
right?
they were
I thought.
cousins. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
they look the same. And I think even Catherine the Great, she was like, they found some German, like they wanted to like marry the right person. They went to, she was German. So there's all kinds of
Right.
people on these old thrones of these royalty who aren't from the same country that they were from.
Yeah,
Much
totally.
like King Charles III's dad, who was from Germany, right?
Right.
So they found some dude. There was another one in the British family that was like he was from Greece or something. Like so
Well, British
they're
royals,
interbreeding.
I
Yeah.
mean, the Plantagenets were French, and like the different bloodlines that were running were all from other places, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it seems
something
like
like that. Yeah.
but then the Coburg Gotha and the Romanovs and that whole German thing it seems like when they were destroying Germany, it was like an interfamilial,
Yeah.
kind of feud between these high German families, and they're like one high German family is trying to get rid of the other high German family. I don't know. Anyway, we're
If
getting
you
kind
look
of
at if you look at the old kind of like Germany, I think was really kind of became they were all kind of little small little protectorates up until World War One. Like they were all fighting amongst each other, and they were all run by people like these guys, the Habsburgs and
right.
stuff. Like I don't think they actually came together until like the late 19th century. Like before that, and they were part of these other different small groupings of people
Right.
run by these type of people. Black nobility always gets talked about. The Bosleger family were Nazis involved in the fake failed plot to assassinate Hitler, known as Operation Valkyrie. Knight of Malta, Tom Cruise. So I guess Tom Cruise is a Knight of Malta. I didn't know
Right.
that.
Yeah,
But the
it
Knight of,
jumps on Oprah's couch, and Oprah's with her evil black sisterhood of evil.
oh, totally evil.
Yeah, all
She was
this.
part of that good thing where they all met to
Right, the
discuss
good club.
depopulation.
Right. She's part of some really evil stuff too that the listeners can look back on my show and
Ted Turner's a Knight of Malta. So
yeah.
here you have these like freaking inbred bloodlines who like think all the peasants have to go. Like the peasants are
Right.
pesky
Malthusians.
peasants. Yeah. Got to
Right.
control and depop the peasants. And, there's too
Right.
many of them and they're breathing our air. And it's too bad.
Yeah, it's like they have a mind virus, you know.
I think that it's something that I think the aristocracy have an outlook. They can't share to the public because it's too nasty, but they just hate
Right.
everybody else that doesn't have the money, and
Yeah.
they've never really worked. I think there's almost like a Crowleyan outlook where they always had money and they never had to work a part-time job, a job to pay bills, and they don't understand you. Like they don't get how you operate. Like you actually have to go to a job and get paid income because these are all landed estate type people where their farms or whatever, or their licenses for coal and oil just get put money in a bank account. Like I think that they just don't even understand peasants at all, and never really did. And so to them, it's just like their lives aren't as important as we are. And so it's the aristocratic kind of
Right.
impulse that continues through the generations. I don't know if it's really ever changed.
Well, I mean, if they are like trauma based, mind controlled, abused when they're kids and that kind of thing, then they're shown that some kids deserve to get burned alive and sent to the dogs and whatever, and some kids are special, and it gives them this like, I am better than the rest, and then I can eat their flesh and drink their blood.
Right.
It's like since they're kids, they're taught that this other, they are beast animals, and it's okay to use them in dark ritual and feed them to your death cult, whatever. Like,
Dude, it's a vampire ball, man. I just
yeah,
said that. Like, who cares? Like, look at these guys who can do these false flags. Like, they just annihilate them and just keep going, moving.
right,
Like 10-7 or 9/11 or 7/7.
right,
7/7's another one on an occulted date. It's incredible. But that took place in London. That's fake as F.
right. And then we know about the Gladio stuff was related to the church, the Roman Catholic Church, and that was like, clandestine military
What would they called it in Italy? They called it like the season of
Gladio.
lead or something. But it
Okay.
was associated, it was this like fake violence that they had in Italy and I think in Belgium, which was really brutal.
Right.
Like people would get shot, but it was all fake. And they were trying to frame the left, right? So these are happening all over the place because, like, I think that the Symbionese Liberation Army was an attempt to frame the left too. So it's kind of like a Gladio type thing, but it was a
Right.
Operation Chaos. But it was happening globally. So they're trying to like make the left look bad and all these things. They had a name for it in Italy. Maybe somebody listening knows this, but yeah. But
This is
the Gladios were not soft. I mean, I think that the whole thing, the what David Ferry ran, which was the pilot thing, right? That was a Gladio group
right.
that the Oswald was in, right?
Right.
I think I'm pretty sure
Yes.
it was. I can't. What was CAP? Civilian Air Patrol. I think that was set up by the Rockefellers as a Gladio type group,
Right.
whose names pop up here again.
So that's another way that they maintain power, the Holy Roman Empire, like
Yeah.
with these terrorist cells that you know control governments, right? Anyway,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that there's like a pretty heavy game. In the Catholic Church, when they make their decision, man, like we have to do this to preserve this, and it's okay because we're doing the will of God or whatever,
right,
that's when you should really be concerned. Like,
right,
because they will annihilate. The Catholic Church is tough, man. That's like you talk about the continuation of the Roman ideas, man. The Romans were rough too. Like they would just burn everything to the ground, stole everybody into slavery, and salt the earth. And the Catholic Church doesn't like competitors, man. So
right.
that's like the same thing. Anyway, so you don't know what happens behind these halls of power, these Knights of Malta, if they get called upon to do something by the Pope or whatever. Like, hey guys, we have to make this decision against this social pestilence. You get a bunch of true believers who believe they're doing the will of God. Watch out.
Yeah, Allahu Akbar. It's the same like terrorism. It doesn't matter where they're from. It's all terrorism. Anyway.
It's just whatever, whoever's using it. I mean, it's not necessarily Muslims, but who knows? You know.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that, like, oh, God is great, kill. It's like, it's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, that's. I mean, you think about like what Netanyahu's in the United States now said in Hebrew to everybody who was Jewish. He said, "This is Amalek." That's what he said about
Right,
Gaza, and that's from the Old Testament from 3,200 years ago, like when the Jews left Egypt, right? When
right.
the Exodus happened. Like
That
this, so he's
Purim
repeating this.
festival is like about that too.
What's that?
The
Oh,
Purim
Purim, yeah.
festival. It's about the eradicate, like, the ethnic cleansing of another race. Like, pretty sick.
Crazy.
They celebrate it every year. What the hell?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, their own, ethnic cleansing that was probably fabricated. This, that gives them the right to go bomb everybody and have a state and, like, destroy the world. And anyway, a lot of them are working for these people here wearing these Knights of Malta
Well,
crosses.
some people have said that. Like they're saying that the Jews, the Israel state is in symbiosis with this type of thing.
Right. And
Because
I mean, it was created out of an order from Britain, the so like this and
Balfour, Lord Balfour.
exactly. And so it's the same line of dominance of the world. And then if you look at the city of London and the Vatican City, and then Washington D.C., and they're all sovereign and doing whatever they're doing and how they're connected. And so
It's important to
it
understand
does make
because
sense.
we're not told to understand this. Not from a public school, that's for sure.
Right.
Like I know my public school education, the Knights of Malta were never mentioned. So I think it's important. I mean, it's not really that much of it. It doesn't fall into the kind of topic or genre of conspiracy. This is out in the open. They're saying this, but you don't see the kind of interpersonal connections of these old bloodline families and these guys, pointing to the Catholic Church and all that stuff. It's pretty incredible.
Right. Right. That's the occult part of it.
Yeah, that's the occulted reality of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't know what the things are. Is that the two-headed eagle right there above
Yes.
you guys too? Yeah.
Yeah. Of the
Right.
what is it? The order. Uh, it's a certain level in the Freemasons, and it's on the
Oh,
cover of Morals and Dogma. It's the Knight Kadash degree. That's what
wow.
the white and black eagle, some Knight Kadash, and that's huge. And it's got the crown above the two eagles is the crown. So anyway,
That makes perfect sense.
yeah,
Makes perfect sense. That's it. That wraps up the whole thing.
yeah,
Dude. I think we're at
fantastic.
90 minutes.
That's great. Um, this has been uh, like, I mean, it's just scratching the surface. So here's one name, and then it floats by, and we got another name, and then we got more, and, like, it's just so much. So I hope that the listeners, take this information and go dig further and see where these people connect and what their names are.
Yeah.
Maybe map it out, try to see, like, because we need these names to be released. We don't want everybody just saying, oh yeah, it's the Rothschilds, oh the Rothschilds, oh
Right.
the Rockefeller. Like, it's only two families that are destroying the world, but really these takes a lot of people to control the world. And so we want to know their names, and we want everybody to be able to find it. So let's make that happen,
These
people.
are the kind of people behind the UN, right? So, like, the
Yeah.
UN isn't some kind of independent, you know, thing. It's got the Knights of Malta are sitting in there, and it's got a bunch of these old line families. It's supported by the Rockefellers. They put all the money up, so
Right.
it's this kind of thing.
Right. And we said in the first one how, like, the Leopold of Belgium was Knights of Malta, and what he was doing with the UN and all that, and how and how they was cutting off people's hands and shit
Oh,
for rubber. Like, um, they're totally evil. I mean, Jimmy Savile, like, holy crap. And so, they got smiling faces, and they got nice fancy robes, and very ornate places where they do their ritual, but still, these people are evil. You know, I'm pretty safe to say, like I would be willing to venture. All
I
these
don't
people
think they
are
see
evil.
themselves as that, though. I think
Right,
that
of
they
course.
really see themselves maybe as holding together Western civilization or
Mm,
Christianity. But I do think that they have that, like I said, that aristocratic mindset, which for people
well,
not in that group and not in that club, they are not, you're just not one of them. You never will be, just never
right.
will.
And it's cool to kill you off, like whatever,
Send them off to war. Like these
Right.
wars are kill offs, right? So
Right.
like it's like, hey, go to the front, go and die, blah, blah.
Right. And
Transmog. I
now,
mean, the Ukraine, they did it. They've done it. We're seeing it happen in real time. Like
right.
all these old line families sending people off to die. They just depopulated Ukraine. I think by design. Like that's
Right.
probably was their whole goal of Russia is like, yeah, let's get as many Russians to die too. And then we can take all of their $70 trillion in sunk landed assets. We have all our money and all our stuff is already like Vanguard, Vanguard and BlackRock run everything. My understanding, Vanguard is these kind of guys. Like
Right.
that's who owns Vanguard is like it's obviously set up to have a secret. And then they put this Jewish guy out in front to make it look Jewish. So they got Larry Fink out there. But it's really not. So
I
yeah.
mean, it is
It's a whole
like
nother show.
it's so obvious when we learn it and we understand it, and like, okay, you know, the court Jew is like, the guy who does the finances because this papal edict of like you can't,
No
have
usury.
usury, right? Exactly. So like, it, once we learn and get the keys of understanding and learning this, it history makes a lot more sense because coming out of public school like you're saying just question why the hell did everything
Yeah.
why and this is weird and why were they doing this but now we're seeing it and the bloodlines and the occult connections and the dark orders really are where you'll find the truth. This is and interesting that they don't hide it very much. I mean, we can find their names and we can, I mean, if we dig, I mean, they don't post the names, but I think that, and we see who's connected to what, and they do print it in the newspaper. I mean, we can learn further with the information that is available to us. We don't, we just have to be interested and, start digging.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Tell Wake the Dead's listeners where they can find William Ramsey Investigates.
Yeah, you can find it on iTunes or Spotify. It's in the top 5%. I put out a lot of shows. I think I'm over 1,300 episodes. And all my movies are on my Patreon. And then you can watch them there. And then I have 5 books on Amazon.
Right. And you've done some very important books talking about Aleister Crowley, talking about West Memphis 3, talking about the Smiley Face killings. You have ongoing investigations that everybody should look into and learn more about what you've been digging up.
There's a lot more going on than you'll find on the TV. That's for
sure.
Or state school, state public
Yeah.
education, which should be like in quotes, like state public education or whatever.
Right.
Indoctrination is really.
Yeah, mind control.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes a life. It's almost like coming out of Scientology or a cult. Like, whoa, they didn't tell me anything about this. Anyway.
Well said. Yeah.
All right, Sean. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right, I just ended it.